Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Shortcut Podcast, a show about the long and short of the filmmaking process. Joining me on this episode is Sarah Baskin, a diverse filmmaker, actor, writer, director, and producer, whose portfolio covers both screen and stage, behind the camera and in front of it. Sarah directed a quirky and insightful film called I Want to Go to Moscow, about an actor fast approaching middle age and fast approaching a nervous breakdown, as she is forced to take over an acting class for kindergarten-aged children. Sarah discusses the pain, frustration, and delight she experienced while casting and working with 7 young children on set, and gives us a little insight into what it's like to feel the pressure as the clock winds ever forward on your career, your body, and your dreams. And with that, please enjoy the show. Welcome back to the show. With me here is Sarah Baskin, director of I Want to Go to Moscow. And we just watched that film in the theater. It was fantastic. It was hilarious. It was intense. It was emotional. It was a lot of things. So we'll jump right in.
Thank you.
Sarah,
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Do I talk to?
No, talk to me.
Okay, because you were talking to them. I'm like, who's on the other side?
Just do the intro real quick in case. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was like, okay.
I mean, if you want to at some point.
No, I'd prefer to talk
like,
to you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
But if you would be like, hey, audience, by the way, you can always do that.
Okay, good to know. Okay, I'm done. Introduce myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you? What kind of director, filmmaker are you?
I am Sarah Baskin. I don't know how to answer that question. I think I would have to say I'm like an actor's director, filmmaker. Just that I've been an actor for many years, and so much of what I'm interested in has to do with performance and I just even think about how like obsessed I am with close-ups and like the face. I just want even in Moscow, there's like so many face shots of like all the kids. I just love, I just love actors. I love faces. I love emotions.
I thought that actually was a huge part of what drew me to that was I also enjoy facial expressions, the intensity of emotion that you can pick up on just little subtle things, and working with children. I was like, holy cow. I've worked with children. I don't think I've ever gotten performances like that before.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also just really love story. I love thinking about I've taught acting for many years, and so I've watched actors I've watched so many scenes and so many stories, and I'm always interested in like when something all of a sudden like gets on the right tracks and becomes electric, because so much of the time it's like it's not quite happening. It's like a little off, like the train's like, and you're like, how do I get it on? And then when it's on the tracks, it's just like, ah. And so I think I'm like, as a filmmaker, just really interested in the architecture of story and like how you make things move people, because it's like, and filmmaking is so interesting because there's so many elements that make something moving or not moving, and like how do you alchemize it all, like in each step and stage of the process, to orchestrate an experience that others will find moving or funny, or in my short, hopefully both at the same time, and I am really interested in that and like how stories work. And because I've made 2 shorts, so I'm focusing on shorts right now. I'm really interested in like how you get like an ending to pay off, like how you start a story, how you end a story, how you make a short feel like complete, like a complete experience. Right. And how you just story, like how you get people to feel like something is both surprising and inevitable. And I just,
There's I don't know if I have any input at this point. That was a fantastic summary of, I think, what we saw and what comes across in your film. And I'm joking, I have more, but
thank you though.
That was really well put. Your film, speaking of the ending,
I that was I had no idea how you were going to wrap that up, and that was like such a perfectly cute, beautiful little way to wrap it up. And I knew something was going to come with that little girl at the end. I knew she was clearly being singled out as the one who got it, who at least, as I mean, I heard you talk up on stage a little bit afterwards about how you were dealing with kids who were at this age of innocence, this age before they have become conscious of what the real world is about and how things function. And that girl was at that precipice of, she was getting something from that teacher, that last second irrational teacher there. And she was, I don't know, she was getting on board, but it was still too early, probably in her age to really quite understand what was going on. But you could see that little mind, you put in that direction, that little mind was starting to get the spark, Let's talk a little bit about that for a second. Working with children. Yes, the two things you don't do, work with animals and children, and you worked with many, many, many children. So how was that?
It was wild. I just want to say thank you for noticing that about the spark of the girl who gets it. It's just, like, I feel like you can be in a room with, you never know who's going to get the message. And this girl, she got it. So I just appreciate that encapsulation. But yeah, it was wild to work with that many kids. And I'm pretty good with kids. But you put them all together, it's different than if there's like one in a short with adults. They sort of like are well behaved, right? But it was like a zoo. Like they were like egging each other on, and it was just wild. And it was challenging. I'm not gonna lie. You have restricted hours. Like we knew what age each one was because the 7-year-olds had like an hour or two less than the 9-year-olds. And so then the scheduling was really like, and Ariel, who plays Mara, the lead, we had to get all the kid footage first. Her performance is amazing, but it's also amazing given that we would do her stuff last. Because the kids, and then sometimes the kids would leave and she would just have to do it to chairs. I mean, she's incredible. But the kids, it's just that they are like, it was just challenging because like their talent pool is pretty narrow at that age. They don't have they can't sustain even the hours that they are. Even though it's not that long compared to adult hours, it's long for kids. And they come in really excited, but then they're waiting. And then by the time it's actually go time, they're like, oh, I was ready an hour and a half ago, and now I'm bored and want a snack. And you're like, this is not the snack time. This is the very short window where you're supposed to be brilliant. So please be brilliant. And it's like, also kids are so sensitive that if you show any sign of stress, they will shut down a little bit. So you have to be like, you have all the time in the world, as in like 2 seconds. You have 2 takes. Like do it right now and be good. Okay. It's just really, it was really wild.
And that was a choice, right? You decided to work with kids as opposed to had someone tell you had to, right?
No, I wrote it. I wrote it in 100%. I was like, this is the only way for it to, I was coaching kids. I started coaching kids during the pandemic. It sort of came to me. I never thought I'd be able to work with kids. I was like, what? No. And here I am. And this one kid, I was trying to get her to understand like the upset in the scene. And I was like, have you ever felt any, anxiety and she was like 7 or 8. I said, maybe some worry. And she thought about it and she said, not yet. Not yet. And she really meant it. She could identify what worry was, like maybe from her parents, and she could identify that she hadn't experienced it yet. And I was like, that I want to capture that. Because meanwhile I was like, I don't know, probably crying 2 hours earlier because it was the pandemic and it was stressful. And then I'm like on Zoom and this kid's telling me she's never felt worry. So I knew it had to be kids. And I wrote actually 6 of them. And when we cast them, there was this one that was really awesome, but there wasn't space for her. And then I was thinking about how we were going to shoot it. And I was like, okay, if the 3 girls are doing the 3 sisters up there, there's only going to be 3. And I was like, that's not pretty. We need 4. And I was like, went to my producer. I was like, I'm going to add 1 more kid. She was like, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. I was like, yep. And I did.
Let's get on this train. That sounds like you had a possibly better experience than I have. And I have I just realized I've been working with kids on film more than I thought I had. The last two features I was on, we had a kid as one of our leads, it was a supporting lead. And the series that I co-directed or guest directed and co-wrote this summer out in China was a comedy family series with 4 kids, one who was 17 and 2 who were 9 and 1 who was 6. And despite all of that, we did get the project done, but it was probably one of the most frustrating experiences that I've had as a director myself. So kudos to you for sticking it out with 7 and producing something so amazing and beautiful. There was so much nuance and subtlety to that. So
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your other projects. How long you've been doing this?
So this is my second short.
Okay.
I made my first one we shot it in 2021 in Montreal.
Okay.
It's called Les Câlins Cheap, which is French. It means cheap hugs in English. And it was based on a French-Canadian short play by this amazing playwright, Annick Lefebvre. And very different. It's a drama. It's like a poetic tone poem that follows 2 women who've both lost their friend to suicide. And they're wandering through the streets of Montreal with like a hole in their heart trying to make sense of this loss, and then they end up meeting and sharing a moment, not knowing that they're grieving the same person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very poetic.
It's very poetic. It was so beautiful to work on. I made it with 3 friends of mine actually, Valérie Lessard, Mimo McGree, and Brian Fitzgerald. And so me and then 2 other women, we were the 3 women in it. Yeah. I just thought 3 women, 3 sisters. I had not made that connection.
I'm already hearing some connections with this film you just put out as well, despite it being more of a comedy than.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested in like women on the verge or like the interior life of women, sort of like I don't, every word feels like it's one thing, but I'm interested in just the way that just interior life, fraught experiences, and the way that women emotionally process. And that was really, and it was bilingual. It was so special to make that one. And I was like, oh, wow, I love this so much. It was such an amazing experience. And I immediately started writing this one. I was like, I want to do it again, but this one's going to be funny.
Well, and it absolutely was, but it also was very intense. You mentioned on stage afterwards that you were interested in exploring what it's like to be, a 35-year-old woman or 30-ish-year-old woman who is experiencing crisis, essentially. Is that something you yourself have experienced? Was there an element of?
Well, yes, of course. I love that you corrected it to 30-ish, and we can go back to the 35. It's okay. I think for me, the tone of this was it is dark comedy, but for me, it was actually very much about like the pain. And I also think that like pain can be very funny sometimes when you spin it that way. But yeah, I really wanted to, I just started feeling this quiet terror. And I was like, I didn't grow up in an environment, like I didn't know where it came from. Like that wasn't like, shout out to my mom who didn't make me think about that when I wasn't like brought up. I didn't see her fear of aging. That wasn't like so I didn't know where it came from. And I was like, oh, the culture, it's just everywhere. I was like, oh, I'm good. I didn't have a crisis at 30. I was like, I'm good. And then I was like, I'm not good anymore. And it was this like panic, and so many women feel it.
Yeah.
So many women. It starts younger than that for a lot of people, but I think it just like keeps going. And I thought about it very much in terms of like the crisis for a woman in her mid-30s, and also who's an artist, because there's like 2 crises going on. One is like, I have these dreams, and the longer I'm here that they don't come true, the less likely it is that they will come true.
Yep.
And there's pain in that. And then there's also just like, and what does it mean to be a woman getting older? And those 2 things were like collapsing on this woman on her day. Yeah.
And I really liked that she doesn't quite have a resolution at the end of the story. You didn't answer. You didn't say, well, here's how to solve this problem. You just exposed us to the problem in a very raw and what's the word? Not gritty, but like it was definitely very raw, and it was very in your face. And I like that.
Yay.
Right. And the little F-bomb comes out, and the girl or the little boy says, "Hey, she said F-U-C-K." I love that contrast between, and you mentioned this on stage too. There's this huge contrast between these young children who are just starting out and are at the very cusp of, they haven't even understood the idea that life is short, and life is going, and their time is waning the moment, they haven't got there. And I remember that being my childhood too, is like, I have everything in front of me now, and I am 43 now as of a couple of days ago. And
Happy birthday.
thank you. And it is, I'm not a woman, and I'm not going through what you experience, but there's also a level of, oh my God, my career is not where I want it to be, and the world is not my oyster as much as I thought it would be in my 20s. And what do we do here? And so I felt a lot of kindred spirit with that, with your project as well. So thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, I so appreciate that.
I think it appeals to definitely women, but also I think there's a lot of others of us out there that will take from that as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Are you planning to take this? You're in the film festival circuit now. How many more are you on the next one? I know you've got a flight tonight, and
Do have a flight home tonight. We have several coming up the rest of this month. In LA, we also were playing in San Diego this weekend. My producer rented this one. I came to this one. I came to San Jose. She had a great time in San Diego. And then we're playing in Mallorca, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And so, there's we sort of just started. We started in May, but there's been it's been picking up, and it's been really wonderful. So
awesome. So let's just talk briefly a little bit about filmmaking, your process. Obviously you're an actor as well. What made you want to take that turn to being a director? And let's talk about that for a minute.
I mean, I've acted and taught for many years, and teaching was always very intuitive and natural for me. And I would help get good actors get really exciting performances. And so then they all started asking me to direct their web series and direct their shorts and stuff. And I'd be like, no, I'm an actor. Leave me alone. Do it on your, no. And I dabbled. I did a couple. And then I have a really good friend who I made Les Câlins Cheap, my first short with, and she was like, Sarah, can you please come help me do this thing? And I was like, oh, but for some reason with her, I always say yes. It's very odd. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm doing a play. And then she was like, you're doing really fun. You could help with performances. And I was like, oh, but I just adore her. And so I was like, okay, yes. So then I went and had an amazing time. I was behind the monitor, and I was like, why is this so natural? I was like, what is this? And then I was like, okay. And then I have a dear friend who's an amazing filmmaker, and he was like, you should really make your own stuff. Enough with just, you're not you just being an actor. It's not really, there's another way. There's a better way. And so he was like, make a film, make something.
Yeah.
I'll help. And I was like, okay. So then I made Les Câlins Cheap. There was a short play that I directed, the short play, just because my friend Val always say yes to. She was like, please direct the short play. I was like, absolutely not. And then she was like, please. And I was like, yes. I don't know what it is about her. So anyway, all that to say, it just sort of, I was like, let me just make this first one and see if I really like it. And then I loved it. And then I was like, this is so great. Why didn't people tell me to do it sooner? And then everyone was like, we did.
Well, here you are, two shorts in. What's next on the horizon for you?
I have another short that I want to make next year back in Montreal, and I'm really excited about it. It's based on my youth a little bit, and I'm excited to...
So relatable stories?
Yes.
Somehow this seems to be a theme.
Yes, exactly. I guess that, yeah.
I think that's very important as far as filmmaking goes. It's something that I am always looking for in projects that I attach to. Relatability and story is part of storytelling. It's probably the most important part of storytelling to me. So I'm glad that you are part of that as well. But you said, so tell me about this next one. Sorry.
And this one also is like, it's not going to be a concept, but I know that I think I have a feature idea that I want to write, that it's the same world. I want to just explore Montreal in the 90s.
Ooh, okay. So like, it's weird to say this, but so like a period piece. Like,
so depressing. I know. I'll never forget when a teen I coached was like, she's like, oh, so it's like a period piece like the 90s. And I was like, the 90s really wasn't that long ago. Really, stop that. But yes, a period piece. It's about the feeling of like, what I call feral femininity, which is like girls have this like, and someone's like, is feral really the right word? And I'm like, kind of feels like that to me. Like, it's just, I see it in my niece. I had it myself. My friends, like, before you are aware that people are looking at your body, there's a freedom that young girls have. And then as soon as they're aware that people are, aware of their body, so to speak. And it happens, I think it happens pretty young now, but I feel like it happened around 11 for me. Like you're aware that people notice that you have a body, a female body, and there's like a sense of like fear that starts to imprint that you just have to be conscious of. It goes away. So I really want this next short really explores like that freedom that young girls, that like wild, carefree freedom that young girls have with their body, and it marks like the first imprint of fear. So it's like, that's what I want to capture.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing that when that comes out, and 2027 maybe, or
I don't know. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, that's such a big number, 2027. Wow.
Well, hopefully there'll be many more after that as well.
Thank you.
So we'll wrap it up. Is there anything that you want to talk about with regard to this film festival, the people you've met, the things you've done, the films you've seen?
Just that I have loved being here. It's such a great festival. It just sounds like I have to say this.
Please chill away.
No, but really, I just like, the programming has been phenomenal. I've seen so many blocks. I think I've seen like 6 or 7 blocks.
Nice.
And I mean, after my first block, I texted my producer and I was like, the films are amazing. Like I always just say, you just want to be in good company.
Yeah.
You just want to go to the festival, watch blocks, and be inspired. Shout out to What the What block. That block like blew my mind a little bit, because I love when people, like, all the films had a really strong point of view.
Yeah.
And that film, it had like a tilted point of view where you're like, the world is like this. Like, you're like, it's like you think it's going one way and then it just goes eccentric, and I just so appreciate that, and I just was really inspired. I met some amazing filmmakers. Shout out to Mitch, who's an awesome filmmaker who's sitting right over here.
Don't worry, we'll have him on shortly.
I haven't seen his short yet because it played before we'd met, but I'm going to watch it, and I'm very impressed that he's made a lot of shorts. So
yes, I believe it was something like 32, which I
you outed
mind. Your interview. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being here with us today. I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future, and good luck on your next project and with your career.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Audience, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This has been another episode of The Shortcut Podcast. If you're listening early enough, you can find Sarah's film, I Want to Go to Moscow, playing on the festival circuit. And if it's been a while since you tuned in, you may instead be looking for her next short, or perhaps feature, set in Montreal. I'd like to thank Bill Hargreaves and Sinoe Hinojosa, the founders of San Jose International Short Film Festival, for providing us with the opportunity to bring you these episodes. And I'd like to thank you, the audience, for tuning in. My name is Christopher Lee Denise. You can find me on Instagram and other social media as @LocalCinematic, on YouTube as The Local Cinematic, and in real life, wherever great films are being screened. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.